All right, let's continue on in 10.1. And given that the indicated lines are parallel, determine the unknown angles without actually measuring them. All right, so we're going to use all of the knowledge that we have so far, and let's see what we've got here. So we have, let's just start with this section here. We know that opposite or vertical angles are congruent. So we know that this is 34 degrees. And we also know that lines that make up a straight angle here are 180. So we know that B is equal to 180 minus 34. So 180 minus 34, and I'm going to grab my calculator because I don't want to make a silly little mistake here. We get 146. So we know that this is 146, and this is opposite to D, so that's also 146 degrees. Now, let's go over here. We know that N and P are opposite, and we know that M and P make up a straight line. So what is 180 minus 118? We get 62. So 180 minus 118 gives us 62. All right, so now what do we know? Well, let's take a peek here about our angles. So what if we kind of forgot about this line for a moment, and we just looked at these two parallel lines, this parallel line and this parallel line, and this transversal here. So if we look at just this line here, we can see that we have an interior, right? This is our interior. And if we have alternate interior angles, they're equal. So what is the alternate of this transversal? It's this angle right here. And so that is 62 degrees because that angle is alternate to it. And what's the alternate to P? Well, it's F. And so this has to be 118. And so we can grab the opposite angles for those. All right, now let's look at this corner over here. Now, what if we instead didn't look at this line? Let's look at, we've got this line here, and we've got our two parallel lines. So now if we kind of just look at those, we could say, okay, what is the interior? Remember, this is still the interior because these are our parallel lines. What is interior off of this transversal? Alternate to this interior is this right here, so this must be 146 degrees. And 34, the alternate interior, must be this guy over here, and now we can fill these in. And so if that was a little hard to see, that's okay. Go back to the beginning, try it again. But here are all the angles, and then you can give it a try on your own over here. Press play when you're ready to see the solutions, and make sure you explain your thinking. And there we go. So interior and exterior angles, how are angles related when three lines form a triangle? So we just want to take a peek at here. So the interior angles are inside the triangle that they form, and exterior angles are outside of the triangle that they form. If we look at the interior angles of a triangle, they actually sum to 180 degrees. And we can do that if you take any triangle and cut it up, and you cut out the corners, and you can totally do this and should totally do this. You cut these up and you put the angles together, and I'll kind of do it here, but you know, because technology isn't perfect, maybe we'll send this guy to the back, but then you can't really see him. So we can bring him forward. Let's see. You can kind of see that they do, in fact, make up a straight line, and we know that 180 degrees is a straight line. So that's something I definitely recommend you try at home. Any triangle, as long as you use straight lines, they should make a straight line when you cut them out. So what we know is that every triangle, the sum of the angles, the interior angles, is 180 degrees. And so what that means is we can use that to figure out missing angles. Because we know that we have 40 and 70, we know that it must total to 180. So we can say, okay, this is 110 plus what is equal to 180? This must be 70 degrees. So let's look at an example here. Determine the value of x. So what we know is that the whole triangle is equal to 180. And we know one angle is 30. We know this angle is 90 and x. So 180 is equal to 120 plus x. We could reason that out and we could just know it's 60, or we could subtract 120 from both sides and see that x is 60 degrees. Well, what if they don't give us a picture? Well, you can draw a picture if you like, or we can say, all right, we know that one angle is 124. The other angle is 15. We don't know the measure of angle A. Sometimes they'll put measure in front, measure of angle A, but we always know it's 180. So we know that 124 plus 15 is 139, plus the measure of angle A equals 180. And we'll subtract 139 from both sides. We get the measure of angle A is equal to 41 degrees. So now we can apply this a little bit more into this one here. This is a little bit tricky, so we'll take this nice and slow. But given that the lines are parallel, see how they're marked with those arrows, determine the sum of the angles A, B, C without measuring. Now, it would be great if that was just like, whoop, a triangle, right? Because then we'd be like, it'd be 180, but it's not actually quite 180 there. So what we're going to do here is let's see if we can make some triangles, because we know about triangles, and also if we can maybe like extend these lines and do alternate interior angles and stuff like that, we know that those things are equal too. So let's extend this line, and let's extend this line, and let's actually extend this line to cut that, let's make this a transversal, right? And then let's leave it at that. And then, so let me get rid of my ruler. So now let's see here. We've got a bunch of angles. We've got like ABC. We've got, let's call this D, E, F, and F, G. And I like that we've made a triangle because I know that E, F, and G, those are going to add up to something. So what do we know? Well, we know that we have a transversal here, right? And that these are parallel. And so that this here is our transversal. And so the alternate C and D are alternate interior. Remember, this is the interior of two parallel lines, and these are alternate of that transversal. So we know that angle C is equal to D because they are alternate interior angles. Okay, what else do we know? We know that E plus F plus G is equal to 180 because they are a triangle. All right, what else do we know? Let's think about this for a moment. So we know that we've got a bunch of straight lines here. So we know that E and D, E plus D equals 180. And if E and D is the same as C, then we also know that E plus C equals 180. And F and B, we know that. Those are a straight line. Those equal 180. What else do we know? What do we got here? A and G, those are also a straight line, so that equals 180. So we know a bunch of stuff. So now let's see if we can rearrange some stuff here. And let's use this equation to help us, okay? So we know, let's see, we've got A and G. We know A plus G, and then here's 1. And then let's use something with B. So we know, I'm going to just put B first, B plus F. And let's do something with C. C plus E. This is 180. This is 180. This is 180. So we know that this is equal to 3 times 180. 3 of those, or 540. And let's just like rearrange this stuff. Oops. What did I get rid of? G. Let's rearrange it. Let's get our A's, our A plus B plus C plus E plus F plus G is equal to 540. Now all I've done is rearrange the addition. We don't know what A plus B plus C is, but we do know that E, F, and G are 180. So A plus B plus C plus 180, well now we can subtract 180 from both sides. A plus B plus C is equal to 360. So that was a pretty challenging example, but we used a bunch of different stuff. And here it is to help you out if you want to read it over a little more slowly. And then our final problem is you giving this one a try. Use everything you've learned in this section and press play when you're ready to see the solution. And that concludes 10.1.